need you to see what you've done.
Francois, can you give us a brief explanation about Spec Ops: The Line?
Yeah, so Spec Ops: The Line is a military shooter, third-person cover-based shooter, with a strong and mature narrative ambition. We're trying to give to the shooter genre a different take, with this very strong and mature narration, based on the novel, from Joseph Conrad called The Heart of Darkness, which has been the inspiration of Apocalypse Now from Coppola.
I played the game and I agree with you. It's pretty mature, very brutal sometimes. Is that the way to go? Do you need to be brutal in a game like that?
It's not that you need to be brutal. I think that the violence in the game, if it's just free or gratuitous, it's not good. In this case, we're trying to show the brutality of war. We're trying to show how it affects soldiers, and we're trying to tell this psychological journey of this soldier set in Dubai. So for this, we had to go to show those brutality. We had to show it. We had to show this evolution toward this Heart of Darkness. So, and that was part of it. Absolutely.
There is, when I was playing it, it actually did something to me, and that that doesn't happen too often. It made me thinking a lot about what I am doing as a player and as a person. Was that intentional, or is that something you're aiming for, that players will start thinking and questioning themselves?
I'm very pleased to hear that from you, because that was exactly the intention. Actually, we want the player not to feel bad, because it's a game, it's still entertainment, but we want the player to react and to think about what he's doing. So we want the player to leave, or to end the game with some kind of taste in the mouth, say, hey, what have I done here, and so on. So that's exactly the purpose of what we're doing.
Can you give an explanation for a situation that made you thinking in the game, a specific moment?
We're trying to put the gamer in some of situations which are pretty ambiguous, and those moral ambiguities are intended. So that comes from the story, of course, but also from some specific situations that we've scripted in the game, where you do have to take some choices, and those choices are not between what's obviously good and obviously bad, because life is not like this, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but it's those decisions between something which is actually bad and something which is worse, and those split-second decisions that soldiers have to take on the battlefield and then live with the consequences of their choices is what we wanted to achieve in the game. We wanted the player to say, oh, what do I have to do here, and I need to decide now, because my life is in danger, or my companion's life is in danger, and I can see something really good here, but I do have to do something, and those kind of situations, we've done some of them in the game, and that's what we want the player to experience. I feel this kind of sets us apart from other games which are maybe more straightforward in that sense.
Also not very straightforward, but very interesting is the approach of having scenes in the game that use sandstorms and you can hardly see anything, so you're practically sort of playing a shooter version of Limbo in red.
Yeah, I mean the game is taking place in Dubai after cataclysmic sandstorms, so we have sand everywhere, and we had to use the sand not just for aesthetic reasons but also in the gameplay. So in the gameplay we're using it a lot with sand grenades and other stuff, sand avalanches, sand traps, other things, and of course, as you said, the sandstorms. And the sandstorms are pretty interesting for us because when they're arriving, it radically changes the gameplay, in the sense that you don't see a lot. That means also you cannot give order to your squad because communication are not that good. You don't see who's the enemy, who's not the enemy. Even your cursor, who's red on the enemies, is now white everywhere. You're shaking a bit. It's not as easy to aim as it was before. So we're trying to change the gameplay experience and to destabilize a bit the player in that sense. So yes, it's I don't know if it's a limbo thing, but yeah, absolutely, it was just to add the spice and to show something different to the player.
We were wondering the name of the game. It just sounds a little strange at first place. Can you give us an explanation how you came up with that?
First we used the Spec Ops The Line. Well, the name is Spec Ops The Line, okay? Spec Ops simply because it says, okay, I get it, it's a military shooter. And then the line is actually something which is a bit more disturbing for the players. I say, what is this exactly? And I think it explains our narrative ambition here. The line is exactly this line between, for the soldier, his duty, the morality, but it's also, as it's said in Apocalypse Now or The Heart of Darkness novel, this thin line between reason and madness, also between your expectations of reality and the reality itself. You're expecting something, you're facing something else. So all those things which are a bit more blurred, which are life basically. There's no wrong or black and white. Life is not black and white. So I think Spec Ops The Line is exactly where we wanted. Is exactly what we wanted to say in this game. It's a military shooter with a real narrative ambition that tries to put you in some kind of ambiguity and to make you think about what you're doing. So that's what Spec Ops The Line means.